Hello and welcome back to the Coming of Cage podcast, your Nicolas Cage movie review podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Derek, and your other host, Ryan, is also here with me.
That's right, I am. And here we are on episode 84,
Whew.
which is our 83rd Nicolas Cage movie.
Yes,
And
yes.
this week is his first real Western,
Yeah.
Butcher's Crossing.
It's another first for him. Apparently, it's the first time he was bald in a movie, and he really did shave his head.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can tell when somebody, well, I mean, there's sometimes you can't tell, but most of the time you can tell when it's real, and it definitely looked pretty real on this one. So,
Definitely. Well, so Butcher's Crossing is about, quote, an Ivy League dropout travels to the Colorado wilderness where he joins a team of buffalo hunters on a journey that puts his life and sanity at risk, based on the highly acclaimed novel by John Williams. I assume a different John Williams. I don't think he wrote this in between Star Wars movies, but
right.
um yeah, yeah. Directed by Gabe Polsky, who actually worked with Nicolas Cage before on Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans.
Which is pretty widely regarded as one of his most batshit crazy films.
That's fair, man. It is up there. And Xander Berkeley, who plays Charlie in this, has been in four other Nicolas Cage movies. This was his fifth outing with Nicolas Cage. He was in Seeking Justice, Kick Ass, The Rock, and Leaving Las Vegas. So like a
Interesting.
30-year span almost working with Nicolas Cage, which is pretty
Weird.
cool. Yeah. A couple of fun facts. So you want to kick us
I
off,
I
Ryan?
only really recognized him from the one movie, one of those four movies. Yeah. So if you haven't listened to this podcast before, the way this usually works is that I take notes throughout the movie, and Derek and I go through those notes together, trying to remember what the hell I meant by them, uh, and just kind of talking about the big events that happen in a movie. I'll say that normally I have about 3 to 4 pages of notes for a movie, and this movie I have two.
I'm not surprised. I'm
There's
not.
just not a lot of things that happen in this movie, you know.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
so the best place to start is the beginning. So right away we get six title screens,
Yeah, I
which is
counted them this
probably
time.
tied for the record, I think, for the most title screens we've ever had in a movie.
It's possible. Each one has its own animation. Some of them have music. And look, this is just a general pet peeve of mine, but if I have to sit through all of those and then
They
watch the
play him
names,
again. Yeah.
yeah, why? Like I'm sure there's like a some type of contractual reason for that, but I don't understand why it needs to be twice in the opening credits. I guess it would be one thing if you wanted to show them again at the end to remind people, but doing them back to back makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it's annoying. And it happens a lot in these movies.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so our intro is a bunch of old pictures, like historical pictures, mixed with some live action, like environmental shots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's not much of a setup here. Like, did you know that this was based on a book?
Not like until I went and read the description.
Okay. I had heard it was based on a book, but I knew nothing about the book. I didn't know if it was fiction or if it was a nonfiction historical account. I had no idea. So I was kind of going into it pretty blind, but
Yeah.
we only get to know like what was it? It was Kansas 1870 something?
Yeah, my next note, Kansas 1874.
74. Okay.
For those
Yeah.
that don't know, Derek lives in Kansas.
You
And
used
I
to.
and I too spent many years of my life in Kansas and was born there.
You don't live
Um,
that far. I mean,
I
you're
live very far away from Kansas these days, but
a whole
uh,
10 minutes.
that's right.
Don't you
I
forget it.
also do want to bring up here early on that if you go look up this movie on IMDb, and you sit there kind of browsing it for a minute, you will get a video popping up with an interview with Thomas Hayden Church,
Mm. Hmm.
talking about how he's getting ready to start filming this movie and having a very like 1870s kind of facial hair thing going on.
Yeah.
He is not in this movie,
No.
and we couldn't figure out what happened. That there had to have been some sort of you know,
I assume scheduling conflict.
I wonder if it was Spider-Man No Way Home.
Um,
They called him back for that, and he was like, I can't not say yes to Marvel.
well, and to be fair, this whole movie only shot in 19 days. So if he had to shoot Spider-Man in the middle of that, then maybe that was the problem.
Maybe.
Did he actually come back for Spider-Man?
Yeah, he was in Spider-Man No Way Home. He was Sandman.
But isn't it all CGI?
Yeah, but his voice, and I think he did some mocap for it.
Did he do the mocap? Voice he could have done from anywhere, right? So the
Well,
mocap
probably
though would
not
be
where they
different.
filmed this
No,
movie.
that's true. They did film on location in Montana. Um, my big question is, which character do you think he was
Oh,
supposed to
he was
be?
gonna play Nicolas Cage's character.
Really, you think he was Miller?
Oh yeah.
I
Who do
don't
you
think.
think he would be?
I thought he was going to be Fred
Which one's
because
Fred?
Fred's the Skinner.
No, no way.
Well, because based on my understanding here, Polsky wanted Nicolas Cage from the beginning and even brought producers from Joe onto this movie.
With this, he would not have made a good Fred.
I think he would have been a very different version of the character. I mean, but I figure that's the only spot he fits, unless there was another guy.
I don't know.
Maybe he was Charlie.
Maybe. Or maybe he was Nicolas Cage's role and whatever you read is not truth.
Maybe I don't know. It would be.
You're going to get Thomas Hayden Church, and when you don't get him, you're going to get an actor that none of us have ever heard of to replace him. Like, come on.
I don't know. I guess I just. It sounds like
It's
this
also
was.
like two totally different types of actors. Thomas
That's
Hayden
true.
Church is not the same type of character that the movie ended up having. He does you don't look at him and go, "Oh, that's a schemer, that's a dickhead," whatever. Spoiler alert for later on in the movie, but this guy's an asshole. And nobody looks at Thomas Hayden Church and goes, "Oh, there's an asshole." Whereas this
I
actor,
know.
he looks like a guy that would be an asshole.
You mean Fred?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's kind of harsh.
I mean, some people just have that face. That's not harsh. They're cast in roles like that for a reason.
Well, maybe he was supposed to be Charlie, and that character was more robust than the original version, or something. I don't know.
Maybe. It's just very weird. I'd like to know what happened there, but
Yes.
we never will probably because this movie was not popular enough to warrant any kind of extra info.
Well,
But
Thomas, if you're out there listening, because I know you're a big fan of the show, hit us up. Let
yeah,
us know.
yeah,
We'll interview you.
we loved you in Spider-Man 3.
Well, yeah, he's fantastic in that.
Um, okay, so back to my notes. Um, we see this like young kid. We don't really get any information on, except he's like kind of more well kept than like everybody else.
He's a fancy man.
Yeah. And he's wandering through this, or he's on a horse, I guess, coming into this town, and then starts walking. And he seems very out of place. Everybody's kind of staring at him. Everybody else is wearing this specific type of hat, and he's wearing this other type of hat. They're just trying to make him stand out more.
Hmm. Yes,
But
this is Will.
eventually, he finds his way to a fur store called Butcher's Crossing. Ah,
Hey.
title. Woo! And as he walks up, Nicolas Cage on a horse is like, "Don't go in there, kid. There's nothing worth it," and then leaves.
And he's just gone.
Yeah, and you're like,
Hmm.
"Okay, I guess that was Nicolas Cage."
Hmm.
Um, so the kid goes in there, um, and he talks to this guy that owns this fur place. And he's like, "You and my daddy were friends, and you stayed with us when I was a kid for a while, and I've never forgotten you. And you wrote me letters." And this guy has definitely forgotten him, but remembers him when he starts reading the letters. But this guy's like a crotchety old man, which in 1870s he was probably like 35 years old. But he looks like he's about 75 and on the
Yeah,
edge of death. But
this dude is stacked, by the way. So he's played by Paul. I believe it's pronounced Raci, Raci. This dude. was nominated for an Oscar. He has 25 other award wins and 35 total nominations.
Yeah, he was fine. He was good. I mean, I didn't have any problem with him. He's not in much of the movie, but
No,
yeah. So the kid goes in and he's like, "I was wondering if I could go on a buffalo hunt,"
like
and
you
he
do.
like you do, and he was like, no." And so the kid's like, "Well, that sucks," and then leaves.
Like that was his whole plan.
That
This
was his
dude
whole
went,
plan.
he came from Harvard, which,
But
is
we don't know that because it's never mentioned in the movie.
sure it is. There's a voiceover where he's writing the letter to his dad at the beginning.
Oh, I guess I missed that.
That's how the movie starts, really, is him explaining in a letter to his dad that he's dropping out of Harvard to go see the country and I forget do I don't know, do something meaningful. I forget exactly how he phrases it. So he's gone. He leaves Boston, Massachusetts, to go to Kansas. We don't really know which town in Kansas. And his entire plan is to talk to this one guy and go buffalo hunting. That's the plan.
And then he is told no, and he immediately gives up. So then he's like, well, I might as well make use of myself here and goes to the saloon where he runs into Nicolas Cage,
Bum, bum,
the
bum.
only person that's really talked to him in this town.
Well, I mean, this town probably only has like three stores, right? It's going to have a saloon, it's going to have a blacksmith, and then like a general store.
Yeah, and really there's only like 30 people living there. It's mostly just people that are like hunters that are coming through.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he sees Nick Cage. He's like, "Hey, you're that guy that talked to me. Let's be friends because you talked to me."
Oh my God. And Nick's got
Um,
this great pipe throughout chunks of the movie, and he's got the bald head with the beard. He looks great in this. It's a
yeah,
good look. I mean, I'm a little biased, maybe.
yeah. Well, this when I was watching this, I was like, well, here's the first Nicolas Cage movie we watched where Derek could cosplay Nicolas Cage without much change to himself.
Not much work, no.
But nobody would know who you were.
No.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could get a buffalo hide jacket. That might help.
I'm
It'll
good, but
remind them of
thanks.
the most depressing movie that they've ever seen. But yeah, he's smoking his pipe, and Nick is really relishing this pipe. I mean, he is really playing with the smoke. He's really trying to get the aura of this character like into the smoke. He goes for it. There's a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
like small mouth smoke tricks that he tries to do, like making the smoke curl up around his nose, and like he really enjoys the way the smoke flows, and
I'd
he's
like to
utilizing it.
know, did he already know how to do this stuff, or did he teach himself for the movie?
Oh, I'm betting he's smoked a pipe for, you know, other movies like
When
National
he's with his
Treasure.
monitor lizard?
National Treasure, he had a pipe,
Yeah, that's true.
the one that was carved out of ivory or whatever. I don't think he smokes out of it.
Not on screen.
Not on screen. I'm sure he did off screen. He was probably smoking the shit out of it off screen. Anyway, yeah, so he asks Nick Cage if he can go on a hunt with him, and Nick is like instantly ready to divulge the secret that he's had for all these years. He's like, "Can I trust you, kid?" And the kid's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Great. No further questions. Let me tell you about the secret spot that I know of where there's literally so many bison that you can't see the ground."
I think the takeaway here though is because later when we meet Fred and everything, I think he's told everybody this story, and either nobody believes him or they think the distance is just too much to risk it. So I don't think he's worried about someone stealing his idea.
Well, the whole reason he's telling this kid is because he knows this kid has money.
Yeah,
He can smell it on him basically.
you can see it, like you said, like he's dressed completely different from everybody
Yeah.
else.
And so he tells this kid he's going to need 500 or 600 bucks and he can make this happen. And he's like, "Well, that's all my money, but okay."
This guy he
And
just met. Different
yeah,
times, I guess. Different times.
and there's this saloon girl in there,
Francine.
Francine, who's a pivotal part of this film, the only woman in the whole movie.
There's the one they meet by the trading post.
Oh, the one that is there for like 2 seconds, and then they're
Yep.
like, "Okay, bye."
Yep. That's the
There are
one.
two women in this movie. But Francine is the sex object woman.
Yeah.
So she like they're I don't know, there's some rizzing happening. They're trying to rizz up this girl. And so yeah.
I did think she was going to come back at the end because I thought they were trying to make a point with her. Be, that I guess we'll get to. So we'll get to that. But I thought they were trying to make a point with this character that they clearly never made.
So yeah, she kind of flirts with the guy, and basically this part is not super important, but he's trying to go to bed and he hears like a party happening. So he goes back down to the saloon, and the girl sees him and remembers his name, and so she immediately takes him back to her room to try and bang him.
Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. That while they're in bed together, she's talking about how he's still like young and soft. The world hasn't hardened him yet, like all of the other men. And based on what happens in this movie, I thought we were going to get her to come back at the end to like tie that
Would
to
that have made
the
it better for
journey.
you?
It would have at least made it matter that like this scene to your point doesn't mean anything because we never see her again. Not well, we see her briefly the at the saloon again, but we never get an explanation for why Will chickens out. Fred obviously never gets to do what he was going to do, and there's no like tie back to this conversation at the end of the movie. So it's just kind of like this hanging thread that goes nowhere.
Yeah, so he like goes back to her room with her, and she starts like trying to have sex with him, and he says no and runs away.
Yeah, later Fred keeps referring to her as a professional, so to speak. He doesn't call her that, but I'm going to call her that. So I don't know if that's true or not. Again, because there's no exchanging of money with her and Will, and this never comes back later. So we don't know, like, did she just legitimately like him, or was he a customer? I have no idea.
Yeah, but she never mentioned money at
Right,
all.
that's my point.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so he chickens out. But the next day, Nick Cage is interviewing a Skinner to go with him. And basically, this is what one of the things I don't understand is they were talking about, he was talking about so many buffalo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it takes 2 seconds to shoot a buffalo, as you'll
Mm-hmm.
see later in the film. He just massacres whole herds of them.
Yeah.
And they have one Skinner,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna then train this kid who's literally never done anything like this to be a Skinner also.
Mm-hmm.
So they have two Skinners to skin hundreds of buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
I think at one point they mentioned 1,200 hides.
I think if you count the ones that they saved there to like pick up later, I think it's 3,000,
Okay.
which is like
Yeah.
just like a huge, I mean, crazy number for these, what was four people. Um,
And this is over the course of like a month or two. I mean, it's fall and goes into winter, but they,
he's there for at least 3 weeks shooting because there's a whole scene about how it's been 3 weeks and it's a week
right, but
longer.
eventually it gets too cold and he's not really able to do it like he was anymore. I mean, he still hunts, but it's not
Right.
like it was.
No, they've kind of scattered and stuff. So I'm with you. It seemed like a small party for what they
Yeah.
were trying to
Also,
accomplish.
the a buffalo hide is super huge, like and heavy. How were they planning on bringing 3,000 back with one cart? I
Well,
mean, when it
that's
shows them loading up the cart, they probably have 30
they don't
on
have
there.
enough. They don't have nearly half of them for sure. I think that's the problem, though, right? The whole kind of point of Miller's character, Nicolas Cage's character, is that he kind of goes crazy. That he is obsessive about just killing these buffalo. It's not even about selling the hides anymore for him. It's about killing this herd for some reason, which it's never really explained why he wants to kill an entire herd all on his own at one time. That's unclear. But that just seems to be his primary goal. It doesn't make any sense. That's the reason they get trapped there for the winter, which we'll get to. So I don't think the plan was to do that. I don't think the other three thought that was what was happening. I think Miller just goes crazy.
Maybe.
Well, because
Um,
Fred even says like it doesn't make sense to shoot more than we can skin.
right. So yeah, they meet with the Skinner and the Francine comes over and Fred is instantly like commenting on wanting to have sex with her and how she's the most beautiful thing he's ever seen in his life.
Mm-hmm. And
So
he and
and
he's
he's
from St.
very
Louis.
creepy. He's very creepy.
Oh yeah,
Just
he's awful.
yeah, he's a terrible person, but he's also like very leery, like gross about
Fred
her.
is a weird character because he's a total asshole, but he's also like the only level-headed person on this journey,
Yeah, that's true.
which is weird. But again, it's another example of like in order for Nicolas Cage to not be the bad guy, there has to be a worse guy,
True.
right?
And sometime during this conversation, Nick wears these tiny glasses, so
Yeah,
we got to mark off a square on our bingo card for wearing glasses.
that was adorable.
Also, just because of his character, we got one for facial hair,
Right.
so
Yep.
that was good. Um, so they go on this journey, or they leave for this journey, and there's a couple like the way they show time passing is really weird in this movie. It's very unclear for a lot of like the journey, how much time it's been, but they show several different campfires.
Hmm.
Well, we don't know if they're different. They see it could all be one night,
That's
but
true. That's true.
um we get to see Nick like dry shaving his head with a razor,
Yeah, he does it, I think, twice in the movie.
which led me to wonder if that's how Derek takes care of his head.
It's not. I wish it was because it's cool, but I
It
don't.
is really cool. Especially because he's just so stoic when he's doing it. It's just like he doesn't feel anything. He's not scared to like cut a big slice of skin off.
Yeah, I've never tried to do it with one of those. I've tried to
Well,
do it
it's
with.
now time.
I still need like a mirror, to do some of
No,
it.
no mirror. He didn't need a mirror.
Well, it's not the 1800s.
Oh, okay.
All
Fair
right.
enough. So eventually they are like, we're thirsty, guys. We're really thirsty. And Nick's like, oh, don't worry, there's a trading post up here. And so they get to the trading post. I thought it was going to be like, what was that movie where he was with the African girl and he was in the military?
Time to Kill,
Is that what that was called?
the Italian one.
Yeah, yeah, the
We just
Italian one.
watched it. Yeah, Time
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Kill.
yeah.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be like a trading post like that, where it's like a small village or something with like a trading hub there. But in reality, this was a tiny building, like 15 by 15 or 10 by 10, like tiny.
yeah. I
And
agree with you. I expected more.
they get there and there's no one there. Like
Well,
there's no customers there really or anything like that. And he opens the door and there's a dead body
right.
that's been like had his scrotum and like testicles cut off and thrown onto the body. And like it looks like he got stabbed with some antlers.
Hmm. Yeah. And this is really the only like direct reference that we get to Native American people being involved in what's going on. We never see any,
Right. There's
right?
a lot of talk about
Why
him.
would we see any Native American people in their part of the country? But whatever.
They do comment that we're going to be going straight through, Native American territory.
And then we never see a
Yeah,
single indigenous
because
person.
like Fred is terrified of going through this. He's like, we're gonna die, and then nope, you're actually gonna be fine. It's not even gonna be a hassle.
This whole movie does this where it'll ratchet something up as really, really serious, and then literally nothing happens.
Yeah. So they're at this trading post, and while they're there, the only other woman in the movie rolls up, and she's got like two or three kids with her,
Hmm.
and she's like, "We're thirsty and we need water." And the Harvard dropout is
Will.
like, he's like, I'll give you some water. And Nick's like, no, don't give them any fucking water. They need to go. And so the woman's, and keep in mind, Nick Cage has a gun in his hand this whole time, and they all have guns, it seems like. And this lady starts to grab this rifle right next to her, very slowly, like not at all with any urgency. And Nick reminds her that he has a gun by pointing it at her and is like, don't touch that gun, be on your way. And then she is, and there was really no point to it.
Yeah, like again, we don't really get an explanation. Like, was she really lost from their group? Were they trying to like screw over these guys? Like,
But it
was it a
doesn't matter.
scam? No, it doesn't matter, right? But we don't. But it just is like, then why? They could have cut 3 minutes from the movie and just had that not happen.
Right. And it wouldn't have affected anything in any way.
Right.
I guess at best it's maybe a character establishing moment for the two characters, the
That
one that wants to give water and one that doesn't want to give water.
See, but I think it comes off more as the naive,
Right.
ignorant guy and the experienced guy.
Well, either way, that's still character
Yeah.
development.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but that's all that it does, I guess.
Even that, we already know that about these characters,
Right.
so it's not really reinforcing anything. So then we get like the next weird amount of time passing where it shows nights and days, but unclear why. And eventually it just shows uh like half the or most all of the group except for the Harvard grad kid or Harvard dropout kid. And there's like two separate groups. But we don't really get any context other than it seems like the kid is thirsty.
Yeah, so they're all like deeply dehydrated, right? So maybe I guess he's hallucinating. We get some hallucination stuff from him a couple of times in this movie. The part that really bothers me though, this is four people completely alone in the
And they
wilderness.
never notice he's gone.
He just vanishes and they're like, meh. They don't
And also it's like a desert. Like they make it look like it's a wide open because they're not in the mountains yet.
right, not yet. Yeah.
This is the plains, right? Where how
Yeah,
do they not see him
they're in
like drifting off?
Colorado on the way to the Rockies. Like if you live in Kansas City, you've probably done the drive to Denver, right? There's not much between those two places, but that's still,
It's very flat and open. That's about
right.
everything.
Exactly.
You would be able to see anything coming at you from miles away, and in this case, you would be able to see somebody like drifting away from you as
You
it
would
happens.
think, well, and you would also think they'd be watching the clearly like new guy who
Yeah, the guy
doesn't know
that
what
has
he's
never
doing.
had to deal with this before.
Like he was getting saddle rot earlier in the movie, right? And like no one's keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, where his grapefruits are going to swell up or whatever, or his nuts are going to swell up like grapefruits, which I'm pretty sure we're not in America at this time, but whatever.
I don't know the history of the grapefruit. I'll let that slide.
Well, look it up because your audience needs to know.
I need to
Anyway,
Google that right now. But then he
any
does somehow find a creek or whatever.
yeah. Yeah, so then we get like a scene of blackness and he's unconscious in a creek, like floating. And Nick Cage just happens to find him right then and pull him out of the creek. And that's
Very lucky.
yeah. And
Hmm.
he's like, "How dare you get lost from our group? You could, if that happens, you'll just die." And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yep.
that doesn't happen. But then eventually they get into the mountains. There's like a scene of them pushing the cart
Yeah, so it doesn't go. So again, I'm not really understanding the plan here. They can't get the damn cart up these, what are
when it's like
hills?
basically empty, by the way, not loaded up with
Right.
any buffalo hide, just loaded up with supplies.
But it's a hill. They're not even to the mountains yet.
I
It's
think it
just
was
a
supposed to be the mountains,
that
though.
did, I mean, that does not look like a
Well,
mountain.
for you and I that have been on mountains before, but maybe to the casual viewer, they wouldn't know that that's not a mountain. But yeah, they're just like it's like a slight incline,
They
which we
can't
do
go.
have in Kansas, by the way.
Sure, they're the Flint Hills, right? But they're
Yeah.
called hills. They're not called mountains.
Well, I'm just saying, like, they would have experienced it before they got to Colorado
Yes, you would
at
think
some point.
so. I
Because
guess we
this
don't
was
know
not a
where,
huge hill,
but we don't know where in Kansas they started. Like it could have been Dodge, I guess,
I guess.
because they
But
do talk
yeah,
about Arkansas. Dodge is way closer to Arkansas, so
again, this scene doesn't really do anything
no.
except that adds like 5 minutes to the movie and it makes you go, oh, so their journey was hard once.
That's the thing. Like there just doesn't seem like what happened to the saddle rot? Did it just heal? Is it
Yeah, he's
getting
good
worse?
now.
He's fine, right?
No,
There's
they
like
they warned him and told him how to fix it, so now he's healed.
so now he's good to go.
There is this one scene, and let me know, maybe it stood out to you, maybe it didn't. I don't know. But it was this really weird scene that looked to me like it was green screen, even though I know this was filmed on location and whatever. Maybe it was the way the focus was handled or something. But there's a scene where the kid is like out in the forest,
Hmm.
and there's like sun coming through the trees.
Yeah.
You remember this scene?
Hmm.
Okay. And then Nick Cage eventually shows up, but I don't know if it's the way it's filmed or if it actually was filmed on a green screen as like a, after the movie
Like a
was
pickup.
made, like a pickup thing. But it looked bad.
Yeah, there were
And
several times.
there was a couple of scenes that really stood out to me like that. This was one of them.
I completely agree. So I did get to watch this with Ray, and she kept pointing it out. And so we thought it was bad green screen work. After the fact, I found out it was shot on location, but there could have been reshoots.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about camera operation. Maybe there's some like weird pulled focus thing that'll make it look like the actor is weirdly separated from the background. I don't know.
I mean, I've seen work like that. It doesn't look like that. Maybe it
Yeah.
was a problem in post production with like filters and stuff like that, but I don't know. It looked like a
But
green
also,
screen.
if this is a pickup, right, they did it on a green screen, why? What is this? What does this add to the movie?
Well, again, right, this movie is what I think it's like 100 and something minutes. It's
It's an hour
an hour and
45.
45, right? Okay, so it's 105 minutes. So theoretically, they could have cut 15 minutes from this and still been at an hour and a half, which is a normal movie length, at least it used to be. So I don't really know what some of these scenes are for.
Yeah.
Again, like it feels like they were trying to do something and then there's no follow through. Like they were
My
trying to do
guess
something spiritual, maybe.
my guess is that they're scenes from the book and they were trying to be true to the book.
Sure.
And we get as much of it in there as they could, which I can't fault them for, but you have to realize that books and movies are two very different mediums and not everything always translates well. That's if that's what's going on.
Agreed.
You know,
Yeah.
there were some shots that where the cinematography was really interesting and beautiful. But then there were other shots where it seemed like they were trying to do that, but then it was edited in a way that was super poorly done.
Hmm.
Like a lot of those shots were like in the dream sequences we see later, or
Yeah.
in like the way time is passing and how they're signifying that was, yeah, I don't know. This movie was a bit of a mess from that perspective. There was some good things in it, but a lot of the bad stuff just overwhelmed that, I think.
Yep.
But eventually they get to where they're going and they see this giant herd that he was talking about. And that's actually right before this green screen scene. And I think it's kind of just meant to show that he's happy they're there. He made the journey. Um, and now the hunt part begins. So we get a scene of, well, our first of couple scenes of Nick Cage making or like putting together his own bullets, which is cool. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
it makes sense that they would do that there rather than transporting them that way.
Sure.
But they were big ass bullets. They looked like 45-70 or something like that, like some very large caliber rifle bullet.
And I
Um,
guess he brought like thousands of them,
I mean, yeah, yeah.
which I got to imagine is very expensive for
Well,
especially,
it's probably less expensive if you're putting them together yourself.
that's true, but you got to imagine like the weight involved for all the metal and gunpowder and everything. Like they've got a donkey and they've
Yeah.
got, what, three horses? I think
Well, I think
two,
two or three
four
on
horses.
on the cart. They've got two, I think, and
Is
then
it two
they've
on the
got
cart?
they're each riding one also. So yeah, so four
Yeah.
total. Um, but yeah, they go buffalo hunting. Nick is just like dropping them like ducks in a barrel or fish in a barrel, whatever the saying is. They're literally not running away. He shoots one, it dies, and then there's another one that's 10 yards away that isn't really bothered by this, and he shoots it, and he's literally just leveling this herd. Um, and then we get another like campfire scene where they just have to establish that the Skinner guy is just a giant asshole and he's just making comments about Francine, and he asks the kid if he had sex with her, and the kid's like, that's none of your business. And he's like, you didn't, you're a virgin, aren't you? And it's like going to high school all over again. But he's like calling her a whore and like
Yeah.
talking about all these things he wants to do to her when he gets back, and just an absolute trash bag of a person. Um,
Yeah, I
he's
mean, he's pretty awful. At this point in the movie, like he's the villain, supposedly, right? Like he certainly seems like this is the bad guy.
Yeah. And is this the scene with the Bible or whatever that book was?
Where he throws it in the fire, or
Yeah.
I think that's later.
Oh, okay. Well, the we get after this, we get potentially the best scene in the whole movie, where a buffalo is having sex with Francine, and then the buffalo morphs into Nicolas Cage having sex with Francine. And then the kid wakes up
Uh-huh.
because that was his dream, apparently. I don't know if that counts on our bingo card
As which square?
as Nick has sex, I think is one of them.
Nicolas Cage sex scene? Is
Nick
that
sex scene,
did
yeah.
you have that one? I don't think I had that one.
I did, yeah,
Oh, I
but we
did
didn't
have
mark
that
it.
one. I didn't mark it either. I guess I mean, does that count?
I think it counts, even though it was a hallucination. He is
Okay.
involved in a sex scene, so even though
All
it's a
right.
horrifying like buffalo sex scene. Um, yeah, so they're there hunting for 3 weeks, and I mean, throughout this time, it's shown these like they're not keeping the meat, like they're keeping enough so that they can eat,
Right.
but they're literally just cutting the heads off, skinning them, and just leaving the carcasses to rot.
Yeah. And
Uh,
I mean, we're talking so many buffalo. Like if the numbers in the movie were right, if I heard that right, I mean, we're talking 3,000 buffalo. Like, are you kidding?
well, yeah, throughout the whole time they're out there, but yeah, I mean,
I
it's
mean, they're only
he's
there for a few months. Like,
so at this point we get like inklings that he's something's going on with him with Nick,
right.
and the guys are like, well, we should go home tomorrow. We've got more than we can carry already. You know, we should probably just head out, and we don't want to be here for the winter. And Nick is like, no, we're not doing that. We're gonna have the biggest haul you've ever seen. Um, and we start getting like these weird, not flashbacks, but he starts hearing things in his own head that the audience can hear and the other people around him can't hear that seem to reference him being attacked by a buffalo as a child. And
What?
uh yeah, uh when we're like there's this when he's getting ready to shoot some of the buffalo, you hear like like a child's voice and like a mom, if I remember right, talking about like how he's barely survived this, attack or something like that. And so now he's committed to like destroying all buffalo.
I don't recall that at all.
Weird. Maybe you were talking to your wife or something during that scene. But yeah, that's the only real hint we get to why he's doing this. It seems like maybe there's something in his past, some traumatic thing in his past
It's
involving
revenge.
buffalo. Yeah, he just like literally wants to wipe out all the buffalo. That's his
Jesus.
life goal. Um, so the day before, or they say we should go tomorrow, and then they don't go. And then immediately the snow starts falling and blanketing the entire area. And Fred's like, or Frank, or whatever his name is, the Skinner guy is
Fred.
like, I told you so. We should have left.
Hmm.
And he's like, no, now we have to. Nick Cage's character is like, yeah, now we have to stay the whole winter. There's no way out of here because there's apparently only one way out in the direction that they're going, which is through some pass. And the pass is apparently all blocked off with snow.
Yep. And so all of a sudden they're gonna have to instead of doing what was supposed to be like a 2 or 3 month trip, they now have to spend 6 to 8 months just getting through the winter.
Right.
So you would
Okay.
think that this is gonna be now like the bulk of the movie, where
Yeah.
serious stuff happens and winter is difficult.
You would think. But no, this is the point where there's like a confrontation between we haven't really mentioned it, but is his name Charlie, the
Yeah.
one-handed guy? Nick Cage's character has this guy that's like his guide. Like his not really, he doesn't really guide him, but it's more he's like a mascot, basically.
Mascot.
He's like this old guy that lost his hand to frostbite and doesn't want to be in the mountains anymore because of it. But for some reason he agrees to go on this because it's not going to be during the winter.
I don't know. He's the camp guy. So he sets camp, he keeps the wolves away. That's a big thing. He uses strychnine to keep the wolves away, and he does all the cooking. So, and he drives the wagon.
And you can also see the actor's hand several times in the movie, which is like 'cause he's supposed to not have a hand, but it kind of peeks through the prosthetic or whatever a few times.
Yeah, I mean, not enough actors really cut off their limbs when the role calls for it.
I think Nick might. But yeah, so there's like a confrontation between Charlie and the Skinner. And the Skinner ends up throwing this guy's Bible into the fire.
Yeah, so Charlie's a deeply religious person. He like found God, I don't know, it was like 15 years ago or something. And so
Yeah,
he's constantly like talking about it. He's very aggressive about it. It's all, it's very like fear of God and devil type stuff. He hates Fred, which
yeah,
I get.
yeah. Same, big same.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, Fred steals his Bible and makes a big scene about it at like a campfire and throws it into the fire. And of course, Charlie like tries to go and rescue it from the fire, and he does pull it out of the fire. We don't really know how much damage there is to it, but he seems to mostly salvage it. Uh, but then we see him like adding special powder to the Skinner guy's food.
Yeah, it's the wolf poison. It's the strychnine.
Right. Yeah. That's what we're led to believe. But then he doesn't die. He just like, I guess this guy is really either really bad at measuring poison, or he just wants to like make him feel like he's got rumble guts, bubble
That's what
guts all the
Fred
time.
implies, right? During the confrontation, Fred's like, if you're going to kill a guy, just do it. Keeping him sick is like, I forget what he phrases it,
Yeah.
but
Through the whole winter, this just goes on and he doesn't die.
yeah, he's just really sick for an
Right.
unknown amount of time.
Yeah. Bubble guts, right? He's got the diarrhea, his stomach's cramping up, that kind of
There's
stuff.
a scene where we get to watch him.
Yeah.
Will's watching him for some reason.
And so this just, yeah, he's just poisoning him enough to make his stomach hurt, his tummy hurt, you know. Um, Now it's spring because that was all the winter was.
Well, hang on. Before spring happens,
What?
doesn't the confrontation happen before spring?
No,
Really?
no. Well, I mean, there's still snow on the ground, but spring the screen officially pops up and says spring.
Okay.
And then there's still snow on the ground, so they have to wait a few more days, even though the Skinner does not want to. And then the confrontation happens. Um, the Skinner guy just confronts Charlie about the poison and beats the shit out of him while the other two guys are out looking at the buffalo. Um,
Yeah.
he beats the shit out of him, but doesn't kill him, even though he has said before, if you're going to kill a guy, kill a guy. And then
Well, I think he thought it was payback.
Nick shows up and he's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And sees Charlie there suffering, so he casually walks up and puts a gun to his head and blasts him,
Like you
as you do.
do.
Like he had to put a horse down or something, basically, is what it seemed like.
Ugh.
So yeah, I did mark casual murder on our bingo card for that one.
Yeah.
Even though the murder was mostly done by somebody else, but he did finish it off. Um, and then he is talking to the Skinner guy. And he's like, "Well, you're lucky that we need you to get home, so I'm not going to kill you." And so now the Skinner guy is on Charlie's spot, which is the wagon,
Hmm.
which is now loaded like 10 or 12 feet tall with buffalo hides. And
Right.
it had shown them like covering all the other buffalo hides with like brush, intending to come back and get more.
Hmm.
Anyway,
At
um,
some point. Yeah.
and then we see that they make basically the whole trip back with no issues until there's one issue. And that issue is a slight hill. Well, they do show that they have to push again up a hill
Yeah.
while it's loaded with things, but they do that. They do that. And then the wagon goes crashing into a ravine alongside the Skinner guy. He dies. All the hides are gone.
He doesn't jump off for some reason.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going down with the ship, and dies.
Yeah.
Well, we assume he's dead. We never see his body or anything, but we know he went down with a wagon, and then he doesn't go back to the town.
And Will is just kind of bewildered, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, but now they have spent this whole time there, have no money because all their shit's gone,
Right. They
and they're
got
back in
nothing.
town. They get back in town, and nothing's happening. There's no people there. It looks like there was. I thought that there maybe was an attack.
That's what I thought when they go into McDonald's office and like the chairs on the ground, there's papers everywhere. That looks like somebody like broke in.
but it was just done for dramatic effect.
I
This
guess.
this guy really cares about how people view his, office, I guess. Um, so yeah, they go into the saloon, I guess, and that old family friend of the Harvard kid is there, and he's like, the buffalo, they're not worth anything anymore. They're worth like
Bottom of the market fell out.
I can't get rid of them for 10 cents a hide. And Nick's like, no, it was $4 a hide. And he's like, yeah, but they're not now. That's how business works. And so yeah, that's
Well, he's like, if you had delivered them when you said you would, I would have been able to give you the $4. But
right.
so again, it's the if Miller had just done what they had agreed to do, we probably would have four fairly wealthy, happy guys,
Yeah,
right?
but we don't.
Instead of just two poor, unhappy
Yeah,
guys.
broke, unhappy guys. So yeah, then Nick goes and gets some buffalo hides from somewhere and throws them into a fire at the guy's old office.
Well, so Butcher's Crossing is like the Buffalo Hide place. So he's taking McDonald's Buffalo Hides that he can't
Oh,
sell
okay.
and he's burning the place down as like
Gotcha.
retribution for not paying him.
Right. And you would think there's no way this is how the movie ends. Because that would
Well,
make it the most depressing movie ever. Well, it hasn't even gotten fully depressing yet. Because then it comes in with a bunch of real facts about what happened to buffalo in those days. And we get to see a bunch of pictures of mountains of buffalo skulls
uh-huh.
and
And
dead
hides and
buffalo and
yeah.
hides. And yeah. So that's how the movie ends.
Yeah, and it talks about how I think it was the Blackfeet tribe has preserved them and basically brought them back from the brink of extinction and
And
all
that they used
those.
their buffalo for the
Yeah,
filming of this movie and their land.
which was cool. I mean, I appreciate that they let that happen. If I was them, I'm not sure I would have, but I can appreciate that. It, I mean, so right before we get that bit, though, I do want to just talk about how like the fictional side of this ends for a second. So Nick's burning down the place. Everyone's like, "Who's gonna stop him? Is anybody gonna stop him?" And then Will shows up, and they have like a look. And Miller, of like, oh, you're gonna stop me? And no, he's not. So Miller just rides off into the night, and then we see Will just on horseback going into the nothing. He just rides off.
That doesn't really add anything to what we had already
No,
talked about, but yeah, that
but my
is
point, it goes
fair.
back to nothing is ever really tied up in this movie, right? So is Will going home? Is he
The
gonna?
movie's not about Will.
The movie's just about the buffalo.
Buffalo. Yes, that's the whole point.
So then why didn't we just start with them already on the hunt?
I don't know, but that's what it's about. It's to raise awareness for a historical event that happened. It's similar to that one we watched with the shark thing, I think.
Oh, the USS Indianapolis,
Yeah.
Men of Courage. Yeah, I guess maybe this would work better for me if the movie set it up that way better and like had an introduction that
But
was
this is based on a
nonfiction.
book. So the
Right.
book is set up a specific way and they were following that.
Maybe we haven't read the book, so
No, but I'm assuming so.
maybe. Most movies take liberties with book
Oh, I'm sure there were
adaptations.
liberties,
So
but
I don't know.
so much of the stuff in the movie doesn't make sense that I am more led to believe that they were trying to follow the book and it just didn't translate well into the movie.
Maybe. Maybe.
But that's it. That's the movie.
That's yeah.
So normally at this point in our podcast, we go and look at some reviews to see if maybe our opinion could be, we're in our own little world here. So we want to bring in some other people to see if we're really, if our opinion's on the money or not. I will say that there are no 10-star reviews for this movie,
Hmm.
which is unusual. Um, would you like me to start with the 9-star reviews or the 1-star reviews?
Let's start with the 9-star
Nine
reviews.
stars. Okay, so
Yeah.
there's three of those. The most thumbs up one on IMDb is from Holmes 69236. He said he saw this at the Borderlines Festival in Herefordshire. A good film, gritty, well made, hard to watch at times due to the subject matter. Thought it showed the senseless slaughter of American bison well and the reasons for it. Well acted and well shot with interesting scenery. A good interplay between the lead characters. No particular twists or surprises, but all the better for it in my view. One criticism would be it wasn't great on showing the timeline over the 6 months or so of the story. However, this is a minor point, and I think the overall the film is worth a look. Okay. I don't agree with a lot of that, but I'm glad somebody enjoyed it. Um, we have Grethiwa. I don't really know if that's pronounced correctly, who wrote a very long review of this movie. Um, the end credits of Butcher's Crossing inform us that the American bison population was hunted down from 60 million to fewer than 300 in 20 years. Madness. This film is visually stunning, impeccably acted, slow burn descent into madness. I do love a good cinematic descent into madness, as evidenced by my adoration for the films of Werner Herzog. I couldn't help but notice Herzog's name listed among the 100+ name in the special thanks section of the credits. He was surely an inspiration for this one. I also adore Nicolas Cage, who again demonstrates his incredible talent and range as an actor in a role that calls for him to lose his mind, but not go over the top with it. It's a mesmerizing performance, reminiscent in a way of Klaus Kinski in Aguirre, The Wrath of God, if I may extend the Herzog comparisons. I think maybe this person just wants to like brag about all the movies they've seen. But
Big Herzog fan.
um, yeah, but they really appreciated this movie and they felt like it was a very realistic um display of how the things were dealt with in the 1800s and what led to the bison being hunted down that way. The only other 9-star review is from Gulam Daywood. It said, yes, the country is beautiful. Yes, the men are courageous and have incredible stamina. Yes, they have grasped their liberty and freedom. They also happen to be savagely greedy, unflinchingly violent, driven by mad by spitefulness, and cynically proud of it. Somebody could write that about people today, and I would believe it. It's amazing how nothing changes. An
Nope.
an unflinching look at the ugliness of the European colonization of the Americas through the narrow lens of buffalo hunting by a small crew of hunters. Refreshingly honest take that doesn't romanticize the character and nature of the U.S. American settler program that you might expect from more traditional Western / pilgrim tales. This experience is cathartic for anyone who doesn't need to see the see the need to humanize the worst program of continental destruction known to man. Nicolas Cage is frustratingly good. Okay, I mean, that person read way more into it than what I did.
I
But
think maybe the problem is we're getting hung up on the other parts of the movie, like, and it's supposed to just be about Nicolas Cage and the buffalo, and I'm too focused on Will's character and Fred and all the other stuff going on. Maybe that's my own fault. But yeah, I mean Nick's fine in it. He's always good in the stuff that we
I
watch.
would even go so far to say he was good in it. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
not just fine. I think
Sorry,
he
yeah.
was good.
I agree. I think he is very good in this. It's very serious. He is very
He does well
imposing.
with what he was given.
Yeah, 100%. I think the rest of the story around it doesn't really work for me, and maybe that's the adaptation, maybe that's the book. I don't know. I really don't. Um, but yeah.
So on the opposite end of the 9-star reviews are the 1-star reviews, and there are only 5 of those, surprisingly. Um, First one is from Dabnurk. Shout out Dabnurk. First off, I've never made a movie, so I have to give kudos to anyone who attempts any kind of artistic, albeit a glancing blow at artistic, piece. But this filmmaker seemed to grapple with the basic precepts of any kind of cohesive vision. Butcher's Crossing made most Hallmark TV movies of the week look important comparatively. The characters were about as generic as a film could make them. Nothing made any sense. Like Buffalo would just hang out in the same area for weeks while they were picked off 30 at a time. The editing was moronic at best. This could be thought of as an entertaining picture if one had only been exposed to the Sharknado franchise. But then again, what the hell do I know? That was well said but rough. Holy shit.
Wow.
Um, David Gorowitz. I like a campy Nick Cage flick as much as the next uncultured American slob. But what is this movie for? It's honestly terrible. Are you into gratuitous animal skinning and forced dumb dialogue? I guess this is for you then. No character development, no rationale, no story to speak of. The old man is a bumbling religious caricature of Western evangelism. The Skinner hand is a skilled outback expert, yet knows so little of the business that he asks for next to nothing and is fully naive. Cage present with his usual tics and expressions. It's a really bad movie and didn't need to be made. I wish I hadn't watched it. I forced myself to write 600 words so I could submit this to save you a little hardship. Good luck. Wow. This person, the last one I'm going to look at is from Marlena 78980. And Marlena says, worst movie I've seen in 60 years. Worse than worst. The absolute worst movie ever. I saw Western and thought, oh yeah, and followed it up by paying $20 to rent this ridiculously disgusting, stupid, bad plot, and wrong actor choices movie. I would rather have had an ingrown toenail pulled by a gorilla than watch this garbage. I assured my husband it will be great. He did Con Air. Not all of his movies are awful. This was undeniably a waste of time and money, not to mention awful. I should have, you've already mentioned awful a bunch of times anyway. I should have gone outside to clean up dog poop instead. Why, you ask, is this so bad? The portrayal of cowboys being so stupid as to get stuck in a blizzard for up to 8 months with only one way out. Seasoned cowboys would have known better. Nicolas Cage pretending to be a tough guy is the equivalent of Pee Wee Herman being a tough guy. Neither are believable, and you lose your respect for the actor, producer, and director. It was slow and boring. Do not waste your time, money, or brain cells on this garbage. Go shovel dog poop, far more productive. Some strong feelings there, Marlena.
Oh my God. I don't
There's
even know what to say
there's a
to
little bit of
that.
obsession with dog poop. Also, Nick Cage trying to act like a badass. I can't agree with that at all. Like he does it just fine. Clearly, if you think he can't do that, this movie I thought he did fine for the material he was given. But there's so many other movies. You mentioned Con Air.
Right. I was going to
I
say,
mean,
like, he's the tough action hero of
right.
Con Air.
Yeah.
It's the whole point of the character.
Anyway, yeah, let's not get hung up on Marlena here, but that was a
Yeah.
brutal review. So
That's
now
rough
we rate it
stuff.
ourselves.
Yeah. Yes. So we have our Cage meter. We use a 20-point scale because he's been in, triple digit productions and we want to try and not have everything overlap with each other. So 1 is low, 20 is high, and we have two scales. We have the overall quality of the film and then the overall caginess of the film. From a quality standpoint, I it's definitely below average. The question is really how much below average. And that's why I think I'm going to give it, I'm thinking a 7.
Man, that's way harsher than I was thinking.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's pretty average.
Okay.
I don't think it's way below average. I mean, at the very least, the cinematography or like the landscapes and the utilization of real buffalo and things like that were, enough to put it to the average range, even if the story wasn't that great. Um, I was going to give it a 10. So
Really?
we're pretty far
Wow.
apart. Yeah, like I said, it was right in the middle of average. I wouldn't
Okay.
ever really think about watching this again, but it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
I didn't think.
Fair enough. I mean, I put it in line with Knowing and USS Indianapolis. Those two I had given a 7. I gave Racing with the Moon a 7. Next, I gave a 7. So I feel okay
Fair
with
enough.
that. Now, caginess is always a little bit harder with these movies because it's a serious role, and most of the time he's serious. There was just a little bit of caginess a couple of times, probably really in the first half of the movie,
Yeah, and kind of the descent into craziness was a little cagey. I mean,
a little bit. So I was thinking I'm thinking maybe a 4.
4 is right where I was at with it too.
Okay,
So
look at
yeah,
that. All right, so that gives it an 8.5 on quality and a 4 on caginess, which I think that's fair. I drug you down there, Ryan.
yeah, you did.
All right, well, next up we have to see which movie replaces Butcher's Crossing on the Wheel O Cage. So we spin the wheel to determine which Nicolas Cage movie we're going to watch next on the show. And so you have to be on the wheel to be eligible. And replacing Butcher's Crossing and joining the wheel is The Surfer.
One of his more recent movies.
Yeah. Well, this is 2022. So
Well, recently released in America. I know it was made in 2022, but Surfer was only released this year in America.
no, I meant Butcher's Crossing was 2022. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, The Surfer is very recent.
Yeah. So it joins an interesting list of movies right now on the wheel. It includes Kick-Ass, Renfield. We've got Long Legs, Ghost Rider. A few others are on there as well. So to find out which Nicolas Cage movie we're going to talk about on episode 85 of the show, you'll have to watch our Wheel O Cage spin. Go to comingofcage.com for all of our links. You, of course, can subscribe to the Coming of Cage podcast on your podcast app of choice, and you can watch us on the Derrico Studios YouTube channel. Again, links at comingofcage.com. Ryan, anything else for Butcher's Crossing?
I feel bad for the Buffalo Man.
Yeah, I mean, that part is awful. That part's terrible. So on that note, thanks for listening
We're gonna
and
end
or
this
watching.
just as depressing as the movie ends.
That's right.
We're gonna put up some movies or some pictures of buffalo skulls.
No, it's so depressing.
Oh.
I am not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But I will catch you all next time.
See you next time.